All right, in today's episode, I am going to walk through stillness. And really, how does God talk to us in these times of quiet when we feel like He's not there, He's not listening, and question really why these bad things could be happening or why we're feeling so much stress and anxiety. So, I share a few of my real life examples just of things that have happened with me in my past and really walk you through just how God has worked in my life. And I really want you to walk away from this episode just with some practical, tangible examples. Just that we go through these hard times, and all we really have is our faith and that faith mindset muscle that we have to absolutely work on and lean on. So let's just dive in. Let's talk through. It's going to be kind of gritty as we dive in, but I think you're really going to like this week's episode, and I cannot wait to share with you. Do you want to live a beautiful life that reflects the truth of who you are? Be bold and courageous as you step into your heartfelt desires. How does trusting yourself fully and connecting with your soul's purpose sound? The Unplanned Mom podcast is a potent mix of real life stories, practical spiritual teachings, and a community to help guide you for eternity. This is the place for inspiration with down-to-earth tools to help you pivot and continue to live your best life beyond your wildest dreams. Here we honor your deepest, authentic truth, embrace motherhood, talk all things money, mindset, and most importantly, miracles. So are you ready to say yes to all of this? If so, then let's dive in. I'm your host, Ashley Bush, and I have been praying for you, and I cannot wait to get to know you better. Let's go. Woo! All right. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, in today's episode, I'm going to talk about stillness. It's really something that's been on my heart and mind, just as I know as I work through ebbs and flows with life, and I'm coming in contact and just talking to so many incredible people. And right now, it seems like in particular, just in my circle of friends and family, there's just some heaviness in the world right now. And I know it's really hard. And, we kind of just forget that God's still there in these times that He's really, really quiet. And that's really what I wanted to just talk about in this episode. And really right before we got on here, I always have some music on, getting myself pumped up, and I'm kind of just, getting in the zone, clearing my desk, really trying to connect, my brain, my heart with God, just really what message I want to share and just kind of dive a little bit deeper into this topic. And one of the songs that came on is called Find Another Reason Why by Judah and the Lion. So if you are not a Judah and the Lion fan, highly recommend this band. It's very indie, kind of rocky. It's just, their music's phenomenal. I've loved them for many years. As soon as they really came out on the market, I was blown away. Loved them when they hit the mainstream media. And now that I know more about them and their backstory, their songs they always speak to me. And so this is one of their new ones. And I'm going to try to put this link in the show notes so that you can hop on YouTube. Don't do it now, but when you're done listening to this episode, I really want you to play this song. And if you can, I know I'm old school. I'm a Pandora fan. That shows my age. I know a lot of people use Spotify or Amazon. So I'm sure on those other apps that you can look at the lyrics. They're very simple, but really just listen to the words. Let that music just kind of absorb in your soul, and let this podcast episode kind of resonate with you, and listen to this song. I think it will really kind of tie and play really nicely together, because Find Another Reason Why, it's really just kind of, for me, it's just kind of really speaking to myself. And sometimes when we are in the midst of is pure chaos, sometimes we have to just kind of take that step backwards and kind of take a big picture approach, if you will. That bird's eye view, high level, big picture view of what's going on in your life, and perhaps find another reason why. When we look at things maybe in a different lens, it helps put things into perspective. So, zoom out, do the zoom out, and just really stop and sit and look at what's going on, what problem, what issue, what obstacle are you facing right now in your life. We're going to just kind of, I want you to kind of have that in the back of your mind. So as you're listening to this and we're talking about this, and thinking about the stillness and questioning maybe our faith or why things could be happening, or why do some people get sick, or why do tragic accidents or addiction or whatever, these heavy and hard life things that we are all dealing with, why do they happen? And is it during these times? I think it's good and bad that and we really have to work on that faith muscle, and learning and leaning in on God, and just really having that faith even when it feels like he is quiet. So that's what we're going to dive into. That song was just, whoo, it really just got me super, super excited. And I just thought, okay, I'm going to share this because music's a huge part of my life. And hey, if you're not into music at all, don't listen. You don't have to plug it in. But if you like music at all, and you kind of are the type of person, maybe it's just me, but I always kind of have a soundtrack or a song or lyrics kind of always running through my mind, definitely check out that song. So I'm going to just kick things off, and I want this to just be a blanketed statement to you, is that God has planned a good promise for you. So, here at the Unplanned Mom School, it's, we're dealing with all sorts of life things. So as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, everybody's got life shit going on. Good, bad, indifferent, heartbreaking, trying, troublesome. And some people have some really, really awesome and incredible things going on right now too. And so, babies for one thing are an incredible blessing, but my goodness, can that journey from, finding and seeing those two blue lines from that day until you actually meet your baby can be extremely stressful. So, we're just, again, talking all things, big things, but God really has planned a good promise for you. And in the stillness, I think this is really where we can forget when, as I said, life gets heavy and hard. But I believe that God wants something. He wants to do something very special in your life. And the good news is you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be striving for perfection. You don't have to beg or bargain with God to do something good in your life. Really what it all boils down to is, as we're kind of practicing and walking and looking at faith and kind of trying to take things to a different level, is, is that God is waiting on us to trust him and to believe him to do what he has promised. I was watching something earlier today, and in the message, it was Joyce Meyer. I watching one of her shows, if you aren't familiar, and it was a really good message about, how do you want your life to be? And one of the things that stood out to me is when she said, guilt. How did she word it? She worded it that guilt is us trying to carry that burden and carry that heaviness of the sin, whatever we have done. It's just us trying to carry that load and that burden. And so maybe we have guilt for, us being in a really good place in our life, but somebody that we love is going through something really awful and tragic, and they are lost and confused and hopeless, and you're watching this and you don't know exactly what to do, and you might be feeling guilty about it, but you don't own that burden. That burden doesn't belong to you. And so we can be there for people as they go on their own journey. And I think, at the core of everything is love. I think love is so healing and so powerful. And we have to hold on to that, because the enemy will tell us all sorts of lies all the time, and will keep you from this wonderful plan that God has in store for us. And so I know that I'm living proof of this. So I think I said even in episode 1 here at the Unplanned Mom School is that I've just, really within the last year or so have worked through a lot of past trauma that was holding me back. But it was just this enemy that was just sitting right alongside me and basically telling me that, who am I to want to live this awesome life that God has put on my heart? But I think we all have that. We all should have good amazing lives to the best of our ability. But I let the weight of past abuse keep me stuck and kept me in things that weren't really in alignment with me. And so this is just from my own past experience. I know that I let all of these things slow me down and keep me from living my true purpose and really trying to step into something greater and bigger and learning and growing and walking through some really difficult seasons and difficult truths and just moments that have been really, really hard. But throughout this process and journey, I am learning some incredibly invaluable lessons. And my hope and goal is that eventually, or maybe it is now, it's going to help other people to stay out of harm's way. Are we exempt from harm? No, we're going to face hardships. I mean, I think I say this every time I come on and record a podcast. It's just, as I'm learning as I get older, nobody is exempt from any hardships. We aren't born and put here on this earth to just walk down this magical path of a fairy tale. I mean, we all want that, or we grow up maybe thinking that that's how life is, but you are old enough and you realize that that's just not, it's not true. I mean, everything living will die, and there's peaks and valleys all throughout life, and when we're going down and we're kind of in the trenches, and when we're going up, we have to just always be growing and moving forward and stepping out. And so I mean, I'll just tell you, I mean, yes, I've worked through, and I can say and talk about my past abuse and other relationships, and I know I haven't spoken yet really in great detail, but I share it just as a high level blanketed statement that I hate to even use the word survived. It's just really more or less I have experienced something and I have learned from it, and I no longer hold on to the shame that didn't belong to me. It belonged to the man. And that is empowering all in of itself to say that. So if you have past trauma, past experiences that bring up a lot of anxiety for you, and it maybe is a trigger or a tripping point and keeping you from living God's plan for you, and the enemy is letting you buy into that lie and letting you hold on to that shame, I cannot stress enough how important me getting in with a very good therapist was life-changing and really life-saving in many, many ways. And then again, just really led me on some different journeys through therapy, getting plugged into a church that has just really expanded my relationship with God. So again, really it all started though with just releasing that shame, but I had to work through that process. I had to work through PTSD. I had to, I had to work through it, and it was hard, and it was hard work. So if you're in a similar spot, I highly recommend finding a good therapist in your area if you can. And if you can't, if you live in a rural area or are having a hard time getting in person with somebody, I know that there's a lot of awesome alternatives, and I've heard really good things about some of the telehealth options. So okay, kind of tying into, just as, that fear and moving forward, I mean, I'll be very honest, and I want this content that is out there, and that I'm sharing, everything that I'm sharing with you all, and as I share with students in the Unplanned Mom School, I'm very honest and want to come from a place of really just truth. I mean, I know I get nervous every time that I'm getting ready to record an episode. I get nervous still sending an email out to everybody. I get nervous whenever I'm doing things on my end, just on the business side. But again, I have to remind myself that as I'm stepping out and I'm doing these things for me, it's a reminder to all of us that as we step out and do things, but if it's starting to feel uncomfortable, that's when we know that we're onto something. Because for many years, I was doing things and it just became habit. I was doing it going through the motions, but I wasn't uncomfortable. I wasn't, and my uncomfortableness that I am experiencing is a good level of like a gut check. Like, hey, like I'm pushing myself and I'm moving forward in my life. And so I don't want to confuse, mundane, normal things. But I think when you need to make some changes and need to make some reevaluations in your life. So I think really it comes down to just knowing that you're always on this path for progress and you're getting out of your comfort zone. Maybe it is making that call, or maybe step one is even just taking the time to do the Google search to find the therapist. Maybe that's the one thing that is going to make you feel uncomfortable. Maybe it's having a conversation that's been nagging you. You just need to let some air out with your partner, a friend, a family member. Maybe it's the coworker. There's something that's just been kind of eating away at you, and that you have to do it, but you're nervous and you don't want to do it and you feel super uncomfortable. That's what I'm talking about. Is kind of just doing these things where we're just challenging ourselves and getting in the habit of being outside of what's comfortable for us, to make sure that we are growing and that we are learning and expanding. And again, it's really all full circle, that it's going to come back to ultimately the plan that God has for you. So I know it's hard. And again, I really sympathize with anybody that is going through, just feeling those feelings of being empty, scared, and alone. And I don't have any answers as to why you're going through a particular situation. I don't. I wish that I did, and I never pretend to have all of the answers. Never do. I never want that. I know I'm not a trained medical professional. I think I say that every time. But I can stand here with you, and I can tell you that, we are all fighting our own battles. We're all fighting our own battles. And when we put God on our side, the enemy will come at us with counterattacks. He is the master liar and of deceit. And so I know if you have been following along with this podcast, I have been sick a lot lately. My kids have been sick a lot lately. There's been a lot of things at play and going on. And right before I even hopped on to record this episode, I made a video up on TikTok and just really put it out there that I'm asking for prayers, because I am under attack, and I'm not afraid to say that. And I'm really asking and seeking and looking for any prayers. So any prayer warriors that are out there and know this feeling. And as we grow and as our faith deepens, and I think really just start knowing that God's on our side. You can look at it as the universe, and that's how I always used to view things. It was really the universe. The universe was doing these bad things. Bad things just kind of started to happen, and I would kind of think it's my mind, it's my mindset, and I do believe that we can attract some of the negative things that do happen our way. You wake up, you're in a bad mood, and you're in a rush, and you spill. That's the day that you need to get out the door 5 minutes ago, and then yet you've spilled your coffee. The kid needs a diaper change. The dog spills, runs over something and spills a cup or a bowl of cereal everywhere. Everything just starts to go wrong. And so then that's when you're like, your mind, you got to just really, for me, you got to just kind of like reel your brain in and just take a deep breath, because we can just get so caught up in these little things in life and just let it ruin our entire day. And believe me, I've been there. I have had many days where, when I was commuting and it would just be everything under the sun would be going wrong. And I have those days now. I've got a meeting early in the morning and I need to get the kids out by a certain time or on time, the same time every day. Maybe it's 7:30. I try to be out the door every morning at 7:30. And for whatever reason, I've got a meeting at 8:30 and I'm typically back at my desk, or I'm at my desk by 8:30, and everything under the sun is going wrong. I'm behind every bus. I'm behind every slow thing. The list goes on and on. So we're all going through that. Do I think that that's the enemy at play? No, not every single time. I mean, I know that there's just things that are going to happen, and we have to work through that mental muscle to reprogram ourselves like, hey, this is what's happening right now. Like that is like the key moment to really practice and acceptance is right there when you're living that and you wake up tomorrow or you're, going on with your day as you're listening to this and just the bad shit's popping up and it's driving you crazy. That's when you really got to stop and accept exactly what's going on in your life. You have nothing, you can't control right then and there what has happened. Whatever accidents or little mishaps are happening, you got to just deal with literally what's happening figuratively right there in front of you at that exact moment. So, that was kind of a mouthful, but I just, where was I even trying to go with all of this? But just, really our mindset, we're going to talk, keep top of mind of your mindset kind of as you're going through this week. And know that, again, as you are going to start, if faith is very new to you, or if you're experienced in faith, that muscle, that faith mindset muscle is going to grow stronger. And so, of course, we're always going to have good days, bad days. I mean, my faith journey is still I still very much feel like a brand new newbie with all of this. And so, but I'm learning to get back and to fight faster with my faith instead of falling down in fear. I'm getting better at being able to recognize the counterattacks that the enemy is putting onto me. And really, I'm learning to pray even harder, praying harder for guidance, and strength. And so at the very onset of 2022, when I started working with a Christian business coach, I got sick. And she was one of the first people that I really verbalized out loud, outside of friends and family, about my dream with the business. And I got sick, and she said, it's the enemy, and to really start praying and to be preparing myself. Now, this is before the big court decision. It took place in June. So, I have a lot of people are like telling me, oh, it's, this is great timing. But I'm like, this mission, this philosophy for the program and the vision, what I have for the Unplanned Mom School is put in my heart a lot longer, way longer. Gosh, I can't even talk. It's getting late here when I'm recording this, but it was put on my heart many years ago. And by the grace of God, I've been learning over this past year or so, and it all stemmed from really getting radically honest and going to therapy. Was getting honest with what's going on in my life, and then somehow I've stumbled my way into finding a much deeper and closer relationship with God. And at the time I'm sitting here today and able to be on your speakers right now and chatting with you. So I really want you to take away and just know that don't let the current discouragement of whatever life event you're dealing with right now, let it rob you of your amazing future that is yours and only yours. So quit looking back in the past. Quit looking in the rearview mirror. God doesn't want you looking in the rearview mirror and regretting anything that you've done. Luckily, He's forgiven us. So stop looking in the rearview mirror and stop looking so far into the future that you are totally missing out on what God has given you today. So just pause and let that just soak in for a second, because all we have is today. That's the only absolute guarantee. It's doing us absolutely no service to look in the rearview mirror and worry about things that we've done in the past. We take everything that we have learned, every experience, every journey, every path, whatever you want to call it, every good, bad, everything that we have experienced in our life has led you up to exactly right now in this moment. And again, God has got just an amazing plan and a future for you. So I am going to kind of wrap things up by just sharing with you so like a takeaway. So if you don't have this yet, I have created a workbook, and it is, I'm going to probably change the name. So it might be a different name by the time you download this, but it will be on the website, and it's also going to be here in the show notes. But right now it's called How to Set and Achieve Your Goals. It sounds pretty basic, and it sounds not basic, but it sounds very goal driven, which it is. It's several pages long, and it walks you through how to choose a habit. So it'll kind of just get your brain, reprocessing, reflecting on things that you have accomplished. So we're going to celebrate those things that you have done in your life. And then again, we're really working on that radical honesty, assess where you are, and learning to just really accept everything that's going on right now in your life. So whether it's, have you ever, if you're in marketing or business, you probably have read the book Who Moved My Cheese. So, for me, I'm like thinking right now, the cheese, how big is your cheese? Is it a little tiny piece of cheese? You got little problems at the moment, or do you have a big piece of cheese and it's a big problem in your life right now? It's probably not a really good analogy with that book, but that's what's coming up for me. But you're, just taking a deep breath, getting really honest with yourself, and, considering just kind of where all of your priorities, and then, digesting and breaking down and thinking about what you want to do and change for 1 month. Again, start small. It's all going to walk you through all of this. It takes you out step by step. I've got, just ideas on gratitude, and just kind of, it's really just a bulleted list. So, for gratitude, there are, some of my recommendations for the gratitude meditations. Again, transforming the mundane, finding the gift in the ordinary, and just in your mundane activities. No complaining, celebrating your progress, yada, yada, you get the idea. So simplicity, this is so key. So no screens before bed. I've just kind of got some simple things in here. Delete or delegate where you can. Information detox. Hello. There's so much negativity in the world. Turn off the news. I'm trying to remove, delete, unsubscribe, all these things to just try to simplify my life. Even I kind of go down and talk about food, ways to save some time, because there's a lot of things that go into achieving our goals. And when we start, right now you're probably so used to doing a million things. You've got just this habit of doing what you're doing, but there's something a little bit off kilter. I think this is really a great place to just start and kind of dive in, figure out where you want to spend, or really what area do you want to make the most significant progress in your life. So this workbook is got it all. It's, let me count. It's 9 pages long. And then you see a template for what I use in a journal. But so it's got the daily journal page in here. And so as you look at this template, I just do this in a notebook. I think I shared it, I forget which episode, maybe 2 or 3. I just talk about the gratitude process and how it has really changed my life. And so this format that's in this free guide for you is really what I do just in my journal. So it's a notebook. Buy whatever you like. I am a bit of a paper snob. I like a thicker paper, but other than that, I don't go crazy buying super expensive notebooks. I write down my 5 things that I'm grateful for and my 10 goals. So I break this all down in this free workbook, and you can take a look at it. So grab that if you don't have it yet. I would love to make sure that you've got it. And let's see. We're done wrapping up here. Get the workbook. It'll be in the show notes. Also, as I said, I will list, I'm going to put the link in there because I just think this song is so fun. So find another reason why, listen to it, think about your reason why. So when you're listening to that song, maybe it's you finding inner peace. Maybe your reason why is for your kids right now. Maybe it's for your unborn baby. Maybe it's for your mom right now. Maybe it's for your sister. Maybe it's for a friend going through a really hard time. Whatever it is, find your reason why. Maybe it's reaching that financial goal so you can do whatever. It's earning so much money so that you can tithe or give a certain amount of money. Just listen to it and think about, finding your reason why. If you go out there and you check out this song, I would love to know what you think. Let us know over on social media. Tag at the Unplanned Mom School, or as always, the DMs always welcome. DMs are always welcome. Send us a DM, and I check and read all of them. So let me know what you thought of the song. And lastly, I just want to finish by saying you are a miracle, and don't let anyone or any situation rob you of the sheer fact that you are here on earth at this exact moment in time for a purpose. Don't spend your days fretting away over things that you can't control or change. Rather, learn how to find joy in the mundane and just love. I tell you, just love with all of your heart while you can, because our days are absolutely precious. So sending you much, much love, and I cannot wait to see you next week. Okay, my sweet mamas, if you're tuning in and have got a friend's name that just keeps bubbling up at the top of your head as you've been listening to this episode, go ahead. I want you to grab that link, copy and paste it, and shoot them a quick text and just tell them that you were thinking of them. After all, we're all here to help each other. And if this episode resonated with you, there's a pretty good chance that something in it will resonate with them as well. This show is for you, so do me a solid. Go ahead, share it with that one person that comes to mind so we can spread the love to all of our sisters. And if you really, really loved it, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a review. All right, thank you, my sweet friends. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you all next week. And if you need any more inspiration between now and then, come on over and check us out on TikTok. See you soon.